Here you
Go.
go.
Good?
That's a big fish.
Full hand on tail. Yeah, it looks sick. Good deal.
Look how broad that thing is.
I wonder if that was the one that followed me in.
Beautiful.
Oh my.
That's a big
That's a
fish.
big fish, dude. Limp! That's what I've been waiting for all day.
That's over 6.
Felt that bite.
Damn, I think low and slow is the way to go, eh, baby?
First big of the year on.
The thing I'm about to tie on.
Get him, get him.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Calm down. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here.
Yeah, dude!
Dude.
6 pounds, 11 ounces.
Oh my god, please get the net. Please, 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 please get the net.
I got you, buddy. Oh my god.
I got you. That was the weirdest bite ever. Oop. That was a good one? Yep.
Sure, feels like it.
Sure is.
I can't turn her head, bud. Holy shit. What the? Is that another 6?
Could be.
It's the second giant of the day, proving that point. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Big baits, big fish. There we go, 5 pounds, 6 ounces. Beauty! Let's go. Got him. Get in here, you. There's another 6. You. That's a big fish.
6'10". Little fatty.
Oh my god.
If I can land this fish.
Holy sh! 5.06. Sick. Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy sh! God. What a beast.
Oh,
Dude, that's it, that's it! I'm like 4 pounds smaller. I need a picture. Sorry.
oh wow. That might be a 4. That might be a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. You guys show that off too. 4 pounds, 12 ounces. Holy. Trailers, what's getting it done? Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, that's unbelievable. That's a 4.
He's still swimming.
There we go. That's a big fish. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes! 414 though. Poochie. Not too shabby.
Poochie. How's everybody doing tonight? Let me make sure.
Party
that
people.
I actually had the audio set to the right thing. Yep, Roadcaster. Everybody's good. Cool. I initially got everything set up and I didn't plug in the freaking right thing because that was dumb and I need to respond to Sean. Sean, if you're watching the stream, I can just answer you there. Let me know if you're here. How is everybody doing tonight? Who is in the chat before we do get started? Holy crap, there's a lot of you guys already. This is amazing. Kevin, Gordy, Dave, Dogbone, Z20. Oh, the other Kevin, Z20, Scott, Dan, Matt, and David and Alec, Mark, and Kevin. How's everybody doing? I think that's the 4th time I've asked. That's good. That's great. I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
Almost was a little late to the show, but I was smart. I got everything set up beforehand. Parent-teacher conference with the youngest, our first grader, and it went exceptionally well, so that was good. And let's talk about the boat.
I had my average nightly routine.
Get to work.
Get a coffee.
Extracurriculars.
Extracurriculars. No, there ain't no extracurriculars. Not until after.
Oh, all right.
And then I came here and waited for him because he was at a parent-teacher conference. And I took a picture of his house and said, I'm waiting.
That's my bad. I forgot to text him before we got him with the teacher. And I got out and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm on my way. So, Kevin, you were asking the question that I was going to bring up. Let's talk about the boat because I actually have it now. In like the last 8 streams, I think I was saying, yeah, I'm almost going to get the boat. Now I have it. Glorious. There's no other way to put it. Boat's literally doing everything that I've been looking for out of this next upgrade. Andrew and I went out Saturday. We did a few last minute reconfigurations. primarily just the battery. Richie was amazing, but we swapped it out because the one cranking battery that's in there was original for the boat. So at this point, it's 4 years old. It's a little small, and Richie hooked it up. What was that one? The Pro Choice, Pro Marine,
Pro Guide?
Whatever the hell it was, Pro
Guide.
something,
Pro
Guide.
Guide.
Okay, Pro Guide. Giant battery, so we swapped that in. I just went through, tightened up some stuff on the trolling motor, like the brackets from the Mega 360, and just had to like kind of center some stuff. Like nothing that they did. It was stuff that they just took the whole trolling motor and moved it. So it was all the stuff that I botched. But we went out Saturday for a few hours. Everything was good. And then we went up to Champlain all day Sunday, and it was amazing. Motor does exactly what I was hoping for. Friggin' sounds
69, baby.
69.0, right on the dot. She scooted. My favorite thing about it was we were up there with my buddy DJ and 3D_fishing. He's that black and purple Phoenix that we borrowed a couple times, not only for the Candlewood camp, but just going up fun fishing on Champlain not too long ago. And so we were following him running around Mallett's Bay. And at one point I was doing like 66 to 67 and almost parallel to his wake. And he was a couple miles an hour faster than me. And I usually, if I'm coming up on somebody's wake like that in the old boat, I'd have to slow down, like hit it as perpendicular as possible. This, I was just like, kind of drifted through. I was like, I'm curious. And the boat was just kind of like, dirt, like barely moved. If I did that at full speed of my Skeeter, it would have been a little hairy.
I would have been in the water.
Yeah. And I just rolled right through it. I mean, the thing is a barge. And that's what made me happiest about it. But yeah, I mean, when it was the live wells were full because I didn't close them before I got out there, so even carrying all that extra water, and it's tourney loaded. I've got that thing stuffed. There is not a single square inch of space left in the front deck right now. It is loaded with tackle. We still did 66 to 67, emptied the live wells. We hit 69 on the dot. Probably would have had a little bit more out of her. I think with better tackle management in the sense of decreasing some of the stuff I really don't need to be carrying right now, moving some of the stuff to the back, and then eventually going to lithiums. I should be able to get low 70s. You could have trimmed it up
a little more.
I think I could have.
I looked back, and you could have definitely trimmed it up more.
Well, like I was hitting that trim hard, and I'm looking at my trim gauge, and it just really wasn't coming up. I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe it's just not keeping up. But you're right. I should just kept going till I saw that needle finally coming up.
So you feel it stop pulling?
Yeah, pretty much. No, thing's awesome. There's a mile of room up front. Andrew and I were fishing literally shoulder to shoulder, staring at the forward-facing sonar while we were out there, rolling the A-rig out deep, and it was, dude, I'm so happy. I'm like beyond happy with how well this all turned out. And honestly, with everything that I went through, hats off to Thayer's Marine. Richie was phenomenal. Like the whole team was, but especially Richie. Dude, I literally cannot say enough good things about Thayer's Marine and how positive that experience was. And I'm not saying this because he's paying me to do it or I'm sponsored by them or anything. I legitimately just had a phenomenal experience with them. From initial conversation to final delivery and me pulling away with that boat, I could not have asked for a better experience. There's literally not a single thing I could have complained about. The guy was awesome. Pricing was great. Financing, the whole 9 yards, getting everything swapped from my Skeeter over to the Nitro. I have nothing but extraordinary things to say about Thayer's Marine. It was one hell of an experience. If anybody's looking for a boat in this area, if you don't go down there, I don't know what else to tell you other than you're probably making a mistake.
Damn it, I'm making a mistake.
What?
No.
That's it. That's the gist of it. Beyond happy. And so much so that I intentionally saved myself some vacation time for when I got this, and my goal was to only burn a half day to go pick it up and then another half day to go out and fish with it, but I had to use the whole day off last week to get it, get home, take care of some things on it. So I am taking tomorrow off, and I'm going up fishing up north with my buddy David and Kristen. And hopefully, we get into some big fish. Actually, Andrew and I were finagling around with baits while we're sitting here waiting for the stream to start.
We have good ideas.
Yes. I'll show people. Should I put them on the...
Do it.
When we get to the discussion and you start talking, I'll go grab it and then we'll finagle. Okay. I'm thinking big, but not in a big way that we've done before. This is going to be something we haven't even tried yet. But I think it's going to work. I don't see any reason why it won't.
It will.
So I did see Mike. You said lithium's made it worse in my boat. I'm too heavy in the front now. That is kind of my concern, but I've talked to several guys that have the exact same hull that went to lithiums in the back, and with the Nitro specifically, it makes a difference, a positive difference, because it is a barge. It's a heavy boat, so it's really going to benefit for it. John, best experience I had with the boat dealer 2, worth the trip down. That's awesome, man. That's what I like to hear. And Alex said the same thing. Couldn't agree more. Richie's top notch. My experience was beyond smooth. See? There's a lot of people in here saying all the same things. This is great.
What do they have down there right now? Maybe I'll go take a look.
They have a lot. So, you know what's funny is they posted my Skeeter up for sale 2 days ago, and one of our subscribers was texting me yesterday. He's like, dude, your boat's up. I was like, yeah, I know. I didn't think it was going to be that fast, but yeah, it's up. And he asked me a few other questions about it, like, what didn't you like about it? Like, why did you buy a new boat? And it was like, dude, it literally is as simple as it wasn't big enough and it wasn't fast enough for the waters I want to fish, but specifically these bigger tournaments that I'm going to be fishing. So, like, that's it, especially guiding, like not having enough real estate for everybody to be comfortable and enough horsepower to get, 3-4 grown adults in that boat with all that tackle and gear up and moving. The Skeeter struggled. 2 people doing anything other than really rough conditions in Champlain, it did everything else I asked of it. I outgrew it. Simple as that. There was nothing else. There's nothing else I'm hiding. It just came down to that. And he was like, all right, I think we're going to go down and look at it. So I texted him this morning. I was like, so when are you going? He's like, I'm almost there. He gets there. He's like, dude, it already sold. I'm like, oh, damn. So I think he's going to look at something else. But yeah, there was.
Your boat already sold?
Yeah. They had it posted for like 48 hours and it already sold.
Huh.
That new powerhead, I think, was very enticing on top of the fact that he only had it listed for 22.
And all the carpet decals.
No, those are all gone. He pulled them.
They?
I know. The other thing that sucks about that, too, is we just put on those new Big Bass Dreams ones.
I know.
It was looking real good. Now they're all gone. And I don't want to put anything on there till the spring.
Not yet.
I want to give that carpet a real deep clean before I put anything else on it. All right, 2 things. First off, Carla, thank you very much for the donation.
Hey,
you
Mom.
You are the best.
Thanks, Mom.
So that was one. If anybody's interested in donating by any means.
By the way, I need to get your debit card to you.
That would also be helpful. You can do that. If you go down to the video description below, if you're watching here, actually, I think it should be on Facebook too, but at least here on YouTube, there's a link to our Venmo and PayPal. Like anything anybody does for us at any time is hugely helpful. It just all goes right back into the channel. But hold that thought, because I have an idea here. If we haven't done a waffle of some kind, I'm leaning towards doing something right here. And secondary to that, if you haven't done so yet, please drop a like on the stream, whether you're watching here on YouTube or on Facebook, doesn't matter. It helps. Like it's literally as simple as just go over there and click like, but like that helps the algorithm in more ways than you could possibly hope. That it sounds stupid and it sounds like it doesn't matter, but it matters greatly. So if you haven't done so, please do that. Greatly appreciate the help with that. Mike did say something else. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything with the lithiums. Michael asked any of the upgrades. Yes, we'll get to that in a minute. I was thinking maybe we should waffle off a guided trip.
Andrew needs a boat. He catches all the big fish. That's not true.
With the exception of this year, but you are correct. Every other year, he catches all the big fish.
I suck this year.
It's been an outlier this year. No, but here's the thing. Every year, we catch a lot of like 5s and then a handful of 6s. Neither one of us are cracking them. I've got 2 6s, you've got 1, and I've got 1 5.
I don't have any 5s.
But you've got several good 4s. We both do.
I have like a lot of 4-pound smallies.
Yeah. No, you got some good 4-pound largies this year too. You got a couple. You got a couple up on Champlain. You got 1 local. Place we went to Saturday. You got that in the spring of the jig.
Not good enough.
No, I know, but like, at least it's not just you. You know what I mean?
I know.
I was talking to Tim, the guy we guided, our buddy.
Yeah.
And because he wants to get out, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, dude, I don't understand what's going on this year. Like trying to find bigs has been a real challenge. I was like, yeah, for us too.
Right.
It was ridiculous. So, Steve Sargent's listing his. No kidding. That's pretty cool. But I'm thinking for anybody interested, we're gonna start up guiding again. Now I actually have the boat and everything's squared away, and we're gonna free up the boat for like almost every weekend this winter.
And when I get a boat, we're gonna be doing double trips. So
yeah.
Or maybe I'll just start doing some single trips on my own. So
you have more time than I will.
I have Saturdays and Sundays. So, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Stupid ice cube almost drooled everywhere. So I'm thinking, you know what? We'll save it for next week. I want to waffle off a trip. We did that once. It went extremely well. We'll do that next week. All right, real quick, one last thing, and we'll get into the heart of the topic. I saw the question from Mike. What are the upgrades planned for the boat? I think first and foremost is it's going to Bass Fishing Electronics, to Andrew, Brian, Steve, and I'm going to have them go through and clean up all of the wiring in the back. So Thayer's did a phenomenal job of running all new electric to the front, up to the bow, putting in fuse panels and everything because it desperately needed it. There wasn't enough support there for what the previous owner had compared to what I needed. So all the way up to the bow, everything's fine. In the bilge, that needs some attention. So I'm going to have them go through, clean all that up, get it all ready for the tournament, make sure it's all good, clean wiring, everything's labeled properly. It's all everything that I absolutely need, and I don't have to worry about it because I do have a handful of big tournaments that I am fully intending on fishing next year, and I just want to eliminate any question marks in the back of the boat. And then simultaneously stuff in a 5th battery. I don't know if I'm going to go to lithiums right away. I might do that dead last because it's not a necessity. I've gotten by just fine with AGMs, so I'm probably going to stick with that and do lithiums dead last.
By the way, if anybody is interested in I believe it's 100 amp hour Pro Guy lithium, we have one at the shop, originally $1,100. We're selling it for $750.
Which is a hell of a deal.
It's only one battery, but it is available, and call the shop if you are interested.
I really wish I could do that. It would just be so much easier in the interim to have that one big lithium versus going to 2 AGMs, and that would be enough to get by. Because the one AGM did fine for us. Fished 8.5 hours, didn't lose any power.
And we have some used Active Target ones there going for, I believe, around $800.
Nice.
So
there you go. But so number one, wiring. Secondary to that, Raptors. And then probably what I'll do before I do lithiums, there's one HDS9 Live that's flush mounted in the console. Pull that, get a dual mount, and add another HDS9 Pro. I think I'll do a Pro. And then I'm going to get the new active imaging, the new 3-in-1 with active imaging HD transducer for Lowrance, so that I get that 1200 megahertz for the side imaging. That's really the big thing that I want, more than anything out of that. But just get everything better, it'd be good.
My boat runs on thanks.
Thanks, no gas or batteries needed. Oliver, you're the man. So that there's a lot, and honestly, that's why I'll be doing a lot of guiding this winter to help fund a lot of that stuff. So if anybody's interested, like I said, I don't put my boat away this winter, so we're going to be freeing up a lot of space for that. We're going to be running pretty much exclusively to Vermont here until basically the end of the year. Maybe if we're lucky into early January because water temps are still really, really warm. Then after that, we'll be down Cape Cod area pretty much early January down until middle of March. And then we'll slowly start working our way back up towards New Hampshire a little bit, back into Vermont, go to Maine. I'm still going to chase down that New Hampshire guide, that's for sure. Maine, out of the question. That'll just be like us fun fishing, going out that way.
I might try it.
And may even actually squeeze in some guiding down in Connecticut as well.
Dan, I like your first comment.
What was his first comment?
That one there. And then his second one.
Wait. Oh, yeah.
Next new bowl. Next boat.
All right. Let's get into the heart of the topic because we've been talking about everything. Did I say talons or raptors? I meant raptors.
Raptors.
Raptor. Raptor.
Reptars?
Reptar.
You should get them green. Call them your reptars.
I should. I'll take the stickers off and I'll just have them same font and everything, but Reptar, and then I'll have like a little sticker Reptar underneath.
Freaking awesome. Oh, hydraulic jack plate. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Atlas.
I should add that to the list too, but it's not like really necessary. I know it makes a huge difference, but I get by without it. To me, that's like extreme.
Sure. You're already hitting 70, so I think you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, really the only thing it's going to do is help make it easier to manage rough water.
As long as your
riding.
balance is okay, you'll be good.
Yeah, so that to me that's like extreme levels of like nice to have. So I'm not too worried about it. Dogbone, Cape Cod, you gonna fish LPH? Yeah, probably. I haven't been down there yet, but that's on my list. There's another place down there, not too far from there, that I really want to fish.
What the fuck is LPH?
I don't want to say it out loud.
Okay.
It's a spot that I've had on the list for us.
Okay.
But there are two spots that I would like to go back and revisit. One's a smaller body of water, a little shallower. And there's another place that's deeper that Andrew and I went to. First trip of the year in 2019, and we got skunked. And that shallow water back bowl, we saw the pike swimming together side by side. Not the pike, the pickerel.
Oh, yeah. I got bit on a glide.
Yeah, I really want to go back there. I would love to go back there. All right, anyway. Let's do... No, we haven't fished China Lake yet. Man, there's a part of me that wants to go up there, like, now, this time at the end of the year. Dude, it's deep. It's, like, hella deep.
I know. Like, super deep.
Mm-hmm.
Big Lakers.
I'm
stuck on Lakers right now. I'm sorry. I just want to catch some Lakers.
As much as I really want to catch a big largemouth tomorrow, there's a good chance just because it always happens,
Catch
I'm
a
probably going to
giant
stick
brown.
Yeah, big brown trout instead of a freaking largemouth. What I want. I won't be upset. I'll be a little upset.
I'm dropping brown trout tomorrow. I had Chipotle today.
Oh, goodness gracious! My wife just texted me a gif of a little kid throwing money out the window. Yes, dear, I love you. You're not wrong. Oh, man. Keyser Lake in Maine has giants, too. That's awesome, Mr. Higgs. Hey, buddy. Mike, have you gone to Niagara, fished over the weekend for trout? That'd be for you.
Whoa. I saw your pictures. Those weren't small fish.
No.
Sick.
No, they were not. I'd love to go up there. Okay, let's talk about electronics. It's been long enough. We've talked about everything else. So the whole point of this topic, and got to give credit where credit's due, I almost didn't have the stream tonight because I was like, I don't even know what the hell to talk about. I'm still fighting off whatever this virus kind of stupid thing is. And it's like not necessarily brain fog, but it's made things difficult because I've been so friggin' tired. And that pain by the end of the day has been making things a little tough to manage. But talking to my buddy Dennis last night, he's like, why don't you talk about that progression you made from how well you did with no electronics to slowly building up the electronics that you have, everything that you learned, how you utilize them, and then especially going to having literally everything and then taking a huge step back for 3 months and having literally nothing. And yet still doing really well during that time. I was like, that is a great idea. So let's start from the beginning. No electronics and how you can still do exceptionally well without having them. First and foremost, having electronics absolutely changes the game. Period. Even as something as stupid simple as having a regular transducer that gives you depth, water temp, and your traditional 2D sonar so that you can actually see what's down below the boat and mapping, like GPS waypoints on there, like having all that capability with just standard 2D sonar. Going from nothing to that is a game changer. Not only do you have all your speed and your information right at hand, but also having really good sonar to not only read the bottom that you're driving over, but also be able to mark fish and understand what it is that you're seeing down there, the difference between, am I just fishing a flat, or am I fishing over the top of a rock, or, oh, holy crap, there's a rock here that I never knew about as I'm idling by, things like that, and being able to save waypoints to all those spots. So even if you don't have something like forward-facing sonar or Mega 360 or just even 360. I don't even know if you can still get that anymore. But at least having waypoints on there, GPS waypoints is a huge game changer because at least you can set yourself, like what I used to do when we first started was I knew of rock piles because I used to fish them. And then going out and with the just 2D sonar, literally trolling around the whole thing and waypoint, and literally drawing a circle of waypoints, like 30 waypoints. And I'm like, boom, now I got the whole friggin' rock pile, the outside perimeter of it.
Still do that with freaking side avenging.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're not wrong. We not quite as extensively. Now it's kind of like...
It's like 4 around it.
Yeah, and depending upon the size of it, like if it's a small pile, then now I just put one waypoint dead center, and I make it like a diamond is what I typically do, and I know, okay, that's something that's small, but not super small. It's not like an individual boulder, right? Like it's a pile, and now I just know, okay, I need to stop like 100 feet before that, and 360 imaging or forward-facing sonar. But get ahead of ourselves. Just being able to do that with having GPS and going around your basic 2D sonar and measuring all of those rocks and just waypointing them out and then knowing, okay, I need to stop 50 to 100 feet from that, and I can see where I'm positioned in relation to that with the boat, and I can make at least mostly accurate casts from there. And then your tackle does the rest of the work from that point with being able to feel what it is that you're going over. Tungsten, drop shot, jigs, like whatever, crankbaits. And just being able to pick it apart. But that, I would say, going from nothing to a basic sonar, at least having GPS capability on it, to have waypoints on there and save them, that by far is, I think, the biggest benefit you could have, going from nothing to the basics.
Yeah.
Secondary to that.
No electronics. When I
You're
first,
right, I meant to talk about no electronics.
when I first started fishing on my own boat, my own little John boat, or even just from the bank, but we'll just go with the John boat. I would go out, obviously, no electronics, no nothing. Going to new ponds or anything, I'd be throwing a big heavy jig, half-ounce jig or whatever, to pretty much figure out the depth and how far the depth is, like how deep it gets from shore. Like if it's a fast drop, I know I want to kind of spend some time in there, or I'm just banging the shore and flipping in trees and going up shallow into the grass and moving baits in the grass. And then eventually learning the body of water just by throwing bottom contact baits and figuring out where the deeper spots are or where the rock piles are from dragging over rocks or dragging through big clumps of grass or whatever.
Yep.
And then when I get to like an area that's like, I figure out that's like, we'll say 5 to like 8 feet, I'll start throwing jerk baits and chatter baits and just moving baits like that and kind of learn the lake. Like spend a lot of time on one body of water just to figure out that one body of water and then move to the next one. Once you kind of figure that out, and then move to the next one and move to the next one. And you just progress from there. You kind of learn your own technique on how to break down water without electronics.
Yep, absolutely. Second, I would say just as equally important, too, to always have while you're out there doing literally everything he said. Took all the words right out of my mouth. He couldn't have said it any better.
I have a lot of experience doing it.
Polarized sunglasses. I have seen more structure in a lot of these shallow kettle ponds that I grew up fishing using just a good pair of polarized sunglasses. These are as equally important as having a decent depth finder. Yeah, no, I'm intentionally holding it this way for that reason. Good pair of polarized sunglasses on a good day, and that's the thing. Time on the water is what's going to serve you best when you don't have electronics. Doing everything he said as often as you can. And being able to pick that lake apart and understanding what is there and then understanding how best to tackle what is there at different times of the year. Going out as often as you can will yield different perspectives because of different conditions on what you can see with those, with your polarized sunglasses. I know that droughts have been kind of a common occurrence lately, but even going back like 10, 12 years ago, where it wasn't quite that common, there was still a year or two where we had a really bad drought. And I realized after going out one day that I could use that to my benefit on some of my favorite ponds when I literally had nothing other than I had a fish finder and all it gave me was just 2D sonar and depth. Like that was it. I didn't have water temp, didn't have speed. Nobody cares about speed. And I didn't have any GPS mapping, but I at least could see what was down below me and what the water temp was. And I could go and read structure. And I realized as I was out there doing that at the same time that with the low water conditions and depending upon what you had for streaks of weather, with a good pair of polarized sunglasses, I could start seeing a lot of things out there that I never knew were there before because I would just happen to be out there on days where it rained a couple days before. And now the water's all turned up and it's a lot more stained. With those kettle ponds, and plenty of other places too, but specifically a lot of those smaller bodies of water that the Northeast, the northern half of the country is really well known for, is they can get stirred up and very dirty very easily. So if you can wait and go out there on a day, especially a year where you have a drought, water's really low, maybe it's a lake that they draw down often, and just being able to go and literally using polarized sunglasses and visually looking for your structure. Wow, I didn't see that submerged log before. Damn, that isn't just one log, like big rock I like to fish. There's two more 10 feet to the side of it that are smaller and a little bit deeper, but I otherwise wouldn't have seen that. Time on the water is what's going to make up for the lack of electronics. It's that experience. It's going out there and doing everything Andrew said.
And all of my biggest fish that I have ever caught have come out of either my John boat or on the back of the boat, or on my bass boat that I had 2D sonar on that I just didn't use. And I mean, I think it has something to do with the ping of the electronics.
Yep.
That the fish are accustomed to now. But just being able to go out, not scaring all the fish away with any pings from the electronics, not having anything making crazy noises besides your trolling motor, or your little electric trolling motor, or your paddle, or whatever. It's not going to scare the fish away. There's no reason for them to get scared and frig right off before you get a cast at them. So So I've spent, I mean, I would take my boat out every single day. I would fish 7 days a week and just dissect bodies of water. Like the place I caught my biggest bass ever, I caught it twice. The first time was 7.7, and I believe the second time I caught it because she was on a bed, but not on a bed. She was kind of cruising along the shore around a bed with another like 6 pound female with like a 3.5 pound large male on the bed. And I caught both the big ones. I'm pretty sure she was over 8 at that point, but I didn't have a scale. So who knows? But that was on my little John boat with no electronics, no nothing. So
just a lot of friggin' time in the water to understand everything that's out there because you dragged almost every square inch of that body of water.
Literally every single inch of it.
Yep.
I fished every part of the water column and every inch of that pond in about 3 months.
Yep. Now, that's like everything that you can do on your own with like nothing special other than just time in the water, the lures and techniques that you have at your disposal, and a good pair of polarized sunglasses. Going a step further with technology, just with other not so obvious information that is readily available to you, Mike Dixon hit the nail on the head. You can also look at the terrain on land to see if it's going to drop off quick or be flat. Absolutely spot on. Keeping an idea of your surroundings to understand, like, damn, that's a really steep hill and it comes right down to the edge of the water. There's a good chance that's going to continue down into the water.
For the most part, yeah.
Yep. If you're flat up against something, if it's a completely contained small body of water, there's a good chance you're not going to have that many deep holes. If it's a kind of reservoir in the sense that it's got a small dam on it, maybe only a couple feet high, there's a better chance that, one, there's either a deep hole somewhere in the middle of that, or two, there is a creek running through that will provide a deeper channel. So that there's things like that, like actual physical identifiers about the landscape around you that can also kind of give you an idea beyond that. Now, on the other side of that, you don't have to go out and buy anything to be able to take advantage of a lot of free, incredible information that is out there. And Jake, right there, the map you can get on your phone nowadays is crazy good for little money. And honestly, in a lot of cases, for zero money. You don't have to spend a lot of money to see this stuff.
The Navionics web app, and it's free.
Yep. And you don't always get the best contour maps when doing that for the free version, but they're still pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Secondary to that, a lot of states also have pretty good to sometimes incredibly good depth charts available for free through your local fish and game website. So there's the amount of information that you can utilize and couple that with the time in the water and all the techniques that Andrew said for how you can physically dissect and feel what it is that's out there for bottom contour and structure and everything. That is huge. People now have a much easier time being able to break down a new body of water than anybody did 20 years ago. It's just the technology out there.
It shows up on the screen now.
Yeah. And for free, mind you, for free without spending a friggin' dime, just going out there and putting in your own time and utilizing all the information that's out there for free. That is by far the best, like all of those things together is by far the best way that you can succeed without having a single thing for electronics out there on your boat. It only gets easier from there if you've put in the time on the water to understand what it is that you're looking at, with each subsequent jump that you go through for what you can get for electronics on your boat. So I know we already covered like the basics, right? Your basic 2D sonar. Oops, sorry, I got to drop this thing from Jake. Before I actually go any further, I do want to make sure I go through the rest of the comments on this. Yeah, Jeremy, Navionics app, pool thermometer to jig. Bingo. You got everything. You got your surface temp, you got your map, and you've got your structure finder, like Andrew said, and Jeremy. Faith First Fishing. Bird's my fish finder. Then there's that too.
They do work.
What did I just saw? I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but that's okay. Chris, I always turn off my sonar and flipping shallow grass. Yeah, that's a habit we started getting into last year, the year before, I forget.
A couple of years.
Yeah, there's like literally 2 ponds I can think of where we get up in there and I'm like, we literally don't need any of this. Shut it all off.
Beep, 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 off.
You don't need it. You're just out there. You're in freaking 3 feet of water. You're just picking apart every single hole that you see. Just shut it all off. What's the point of having that noise, or more than anything, having that electrical draw on your boat the whole time? Don't need it. Oh, Dan, if anyone wants to twin with Snover, get Steve Sargent's boats. Killer deal. Fully loaded, 52K. It's a 2019 Nitro Z21. He already told me about that, so. Oh, David, I'm not going to pin that, but yeah, I saw about that. Chris, what color is your boat for this year? I don't know what it looks like. Do you have a picture of it? I'd love to see what it looks like. I posted it up everywhere on Facebook and Instagram, and I think I put it on the YouTube on the community page. Maybe I didn't yet. And is primarily silver, but not really primarily silver. And the rest of it is like a really beautiful, sexy dark blue and like a gunmetal blackish gray. It's gorgeous. I love it. Absolutely love it. And then Jeremy, there you go. I do a lot of map study. Helps tremendously. Yeah, dude, there's so much, so much information out there. Now, circling back to one of the things you can do, we've talked about this a lot. You can also use Google Earth. And the beauty of Google Earth is you can go back in time and look at every year that is available for different times they did satellite imagery for that particular region. And the benefit to that is whether it was intentional or by sheer luck, it all seems to be at different times of the year. Like we've shown it on the stream probably 2 or 3 times now, but you can go back and pick any body of water and you can see it in October, July, April, and usually sometimes it's like either dead middle of winter or like kind of in between, in like August or friggin' May or something like that. You know what I mean? But the benefit to that is if you got a body of water that you've got early spring, middle of summer, and late in fall, you can see that progression of shallow structure in the name of vegetation. Also really helpful, and actually even secondary to that, just as important, for bodies of water that they draw down during the winter, if you're lucky enough that they get one like really, really late in the fall where the drawdown has occurred, but the place isn't frozen over or covered with snow, now you can see like a lot of that really good shoreline stuff. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
Dean, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Okay, sorry. So circling back onto that next point. So we talked about everything, no electronics. We talked about the basic, getting like a basic graph and it's got all your basic functionalities. 2D sonar, depth, water temp, GPS mapping, and all the benefits of that. Next step from that in our progression for what you can get, how it helps you, how you can utilize it, and what difference it makes. Side imaging. You can run with that.
Side imaging is cool. It just works. You can see all sorts of stuff with it. Side imaging.
Let me interject for 1 second. There is one body of water, and I've talked about this before. One body of water, my favorite place to fish, local spot. And there's a stretch of shore, 600-700 feet long, covered in boulders that we pick apart.
That we didn't know had that many boulders until we got side imaging.
I knew about most of them.
There was like a little stretch that we knew had boulders.
Yep. And it took me 5 years with just regular 2D sonar
and throwing
to pick out most of those. I found all of those and literally everything else in there along that stretch in 5 minutes of side imaging in one pass. Mm-hmm. That's how much of a difference side imaging makes.
Side imaging. That's it. Side imaging is cool. If you've never been to a body of water and you had side imaging and you're kind of just curious and it's not that, you can do it with really any size body of water. Pick an area that you want to start fishing or that you think is going to be good. Side image the whole area. Like go up the shoreline, come back, work your way from closer to shore or however you want to do it out to the middle or whatever. So you can get that entire area. Everything that's in that area. Find a big, you can mark rock piles, and we can kind of throw a 360 into this too.
Yes.
You're marking rock piles, you're marking down trees, brush piles, clumps of grass, any like hard grass line, like weed lines, down deep, or even up shallow. And from there, then you take the 360, if you have 360, and you go to those rock piles or those brush piles or that one tree that's down in the middle of nowhere, and you find it, and then you take the forward-facing sonar and you point it at it. They all work together. All the electronics, even the 2D helps, and they all work together. You can use every single one differently, but at the same time as well.
Yep. I think absolute biggest benefit of that side imaging is how quickly it can break down a body of water for you if you understand what it is that you're looking at. It's a very broad perspective. It doesn't necessarily have to be. You can shorten your range, get greater detail, and with the right speed, because side imaging, you can't just go any speed. 3 to 5 miles an hour is really the kind of low end and the high end of speed you should be going at it.
And it was kind of the first, not really the, I mean, kind of not forward-facing sonar, but it's side-facing sonar.
Yeah.
Because you can see schools of fish or even individual fish. Like it's, you will see them.
Yep. With the practice eye, you
if you know what you're looking at, you put the time in, you learn the electronics, you learn what you're looking at on that thing, and you're going to see fish.
Yep. I will say, if for somebody that doesn't have it, that wants to get it, and you're trying to understand, well, what does that even mean? Like, what am I looking at? That's always the biggest question. And certainly for me, when I first got it, I had to go through that learning curve too. But I don't know. I don't know if I picked it up necessarily faster or not. It doesn't matter. For very general tips to kind of help you get started for anybody that either is looking to get it or just got it and not really sure what you're looking at. The brighter the color on your return, the harder the bottom. If it's a really dark return, then either it's a soft bottom or the depth is rolling away from you. So it's not necessarily that you're getting a weak return because the bottom is soft. You're getting a weak return because there's an angle away from it. So you're not getting that return on the sonar strongly. So it's going to come back looking kind of like a soft bottom.
If the bottom is going like this.
Yeah, and you're from here trying to shoot sideways this way.
That sonar is doing this. It's going straight out. So you're not seeing any of this.
Yep.
It's the same thing as 2D imaging.
So rocks versus like sand bottom, there will be a definitive difference in the color that you are seeing in that return on top of the contour lines. But then going from sand to mud, you're going to go from this, like, depending upon your color palette, in my case, I use a lot of yellows and whites. You're going to get like an almost white return when you're going across like ledge and hard packed sand. And it becomes this kind of, well, from ledge, you go from like an almost white to a strong yellow, like a light yellow when you get into like hard packed sand, to like a really dark, rich yellow when you get into a soft bottom return, the mucky bottom. And like that's the biggest thing I can say to that for at least what you're seeing for return on hard structure. Other things like logs and stuff, you'll be able to see the whole outlines of those. So those are pretty self-explanatory. Vegetation versus like a stick sometimes isn't always that clear, but for the most part it is. Because generally vegetation is going to be much more expansive. A stick is going to be this one lonely thing.
And you'll see the shadow.
Yep. And then for fish, that's where it gets a little bit more challenging because you have to work around the variety of fish that you could potentially be picking up, the variety in size, and then the varied depths that they will be at. If you go over a good pod of bass and they're along the bottom, you're going to see a cluster of white dots. And ideally,
like Kevin said, tiny white Tic Tacs.
Yep, perfect. Kevin, sorry. Tiny little white Tic Tacs all over it. If they're really just like white dots, they're on the bottom, right? Because you're getting a much stronger return because it's a solid body versus whatever the bottom composition is. Even if it's clean sand, those fish are still going to provide a harder return. But if they're on the bottom, they're just going to show up as a white dot just because of that harder return. As soon as they get off the surface a little bit, you know, your white Tic Tacs with a little black shadow behind them because the sonar can't read through their bodies. So that's what the shadow is that you're seeing because it's basically drawing a profile of the fish and the sonar going around it paints that shadow behind it. As you get to bigger fish and they get off the bottom more,
you're not going to be able to.
That shadow is going to be further and further away. And you can see the same thing when you come across boulders. To get an idea as to the size of them is how big of a shadow they are going to draw behind it. You get a big size, fist-sized rock. Looking at your screen, it's kind of like fist size, it seems like, right? Because everything's ratioed. And you've got like a little shadow behind it. Probably a small rock, maybe kind of flat. And then you see another big rock, and it's got like a mile-long shadow. That's a big, tall, freaking boulder because the sonar can't see behind all that. That's side imaging in a nutshell. There's so much more you could possibly learn about it, but I mean, and that's everything you can learn from the most basic side image you can get out there. That goes in that next step.
It's pretty much just like shining a flashlight.
Yeah, no, that's
and you
exactly
get all
it.
the shadows and everything. You're seeing, yeah.
And what you get for the return in the quality of your imagery, or the HDness of it, the sharpness of that image, is based upon your refresh rate. So pretty much everybody out there that has side imaging, I believe, starts at 400 megahertz. No, kilohertz. 400 kilohertz. And they would go to 1.2 megahertz, 1.4 megahertz for mega side imaging. So obviously 400 megahertz is your lowest. You still get great detail out of that. Do not get me wrong. There's still a lot you can learn from that, even though it's at the lowest possible frequency. I almost forgot the word.
Frequency.
The higher in frequency you go up, the sharper the return you get on that. Now, the one downside to that is when you go to a higher frequency, higher power, you get less range. Keep that in mind for all sonar. It seems counterintuitive. No, I had that backwards. Sorry. Hang on. I'm getting multiple things mixed up. Higher frequency, you're going to get better detail. Power is totally different from frequency. They technically go hand in hand, but I'm thinking of two different things. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Side imaging, higher frequency, sharper image. Don't worry about the rest. We'll get into the minor details on like really how sonar works. Totally different stream. Now, side imaging, I would say you touched upon all three. Side imaging, 360, forward-facing sonar. Side imaging, it's a 1,000 photo review. Now imagine you were literally like a hot air balloon and you're flying over your town, 1,000 feet up. You can see a lot. Can't quite see everything, right? 1,000 feet. No, okay, we'll say 100 feet up off the ground. You can see a lot. Can't quite see the whole town though, can you? But you can still see a lot. And you can still see like a lot of good detail. Maybe even 500 feet up would be a better example. But you know, you're going over a neighborhood and you're not really sure what's going on in some like kind of backyards. Like, damn, is that like a swing set or what do they got going on over there?
What's she wearing?
That's where your Mega 360 comes in. That's like dropping down to 50 feet. Now you can see a lot more, but you're still not seeing some of like the nitty gritty detail. Oh, okay. Wow. Cool. So that guy's got like a nice white picket fence and they've got a pool that's like kidney bean shaped and it's got all this great landscaping all around it. And that's all cool. But you know, he's got a sign down there and I really kind of can't quite see that. That's where forward facing sonar comes in. Now it's like pointing a magnifying glass at it. Now I can read the sign. That's the best analogy I can come up with.
Pretty much. Well,
side imaging.
Kevin
very
said
broad.
something good too.
What did Kevin say?
A pro said that one.
Pro said, I forgot who. Side image gets you the street, 360 gets you to the house, and forward-facing sonar sees if everybody's home. Pff, I didn't even see that. I was like saying the same goddamn thing.
Bless you.
Perfectly said, Kevin. Thank you. I'm in a slump. The guy RMP just explained forward-facing sonar video really well in a recent video. I've not seen that. I don't have time to watch anybody else, so I don't know. But didn't you just start using forward-facing sonar? I personally have been using it on my own boat for a year now. I have used it with friends on their boats for the last 3 years.
3 years? Yeah.
3 years. So very familiar with it. Not to mention my job is in sonars.
So is mine.
Yeah, how about that? We both have a job in the fishing industry. It's pretty dope. Although his is much more related to what we actually are passionate about than mine is. But mine's still very, very close. Mine's more saltwater, heavy focus.
Yeah.
Yours is 100% freshwater.
I work on bass boats.
You get to work with the companies we know and care about the most, and you get to work with the technology we know and care about the most. Mm-hmm. I'm on that fringe outside, but there's still a lot of overlap, so it's great. It's not a direct one-to-one relationship, but it's as closely parallel as you can get. So I think we kind of covered everything for what I was trying to get to. Everything you can do with electronics and how much more that becomes amplified as you go up in capability with everything. Do you need it to be successful? No. I firmly believe no, you do not.
No, we got third in a tournament against everybody who had forward-facing sonar. We had nothing.
Yep. Yeah, I think every single boat out there
We had over 20 pounds both days.
with literally only 2D sonar.
And we didn't even
water
use it the
temp,
second
map.
day just to save battery for the live wells.
I forgot about that. But the reason why we were able to do that, sorry, I'm getting distracted by a really good comment I saw from Scott. The reason we were able to do that is because of the incredible amount of time in the water we've put in. Not just for those two particular bodies of water, just at that time of the year in general. if you understand patterns and you at least know what depth you're at, that's all you need. Honest to God, that's all you need. Now,
give or take 5 feet.
Give or take 5 feet. Anything you have beyond that is only going to make it that much easier. If you already know what it is, if you understand everything you're looking at, and you understand all the information that can be provided to you, and what that all means, and how to take advantage of it. That's the thing that people don't understand when they say, oh, forward-facing sonar is cheating. No, it's not. You were literally talking about
fish
the best
we haven't caught that we've seen.
Exactly. We've caught
thousands of fish that we haven't caught, and it's sometimes it's infuriating because you're throwing a bait and you have 4 or 5 fish come up at it at the same time, and they're just like, nah, and they do it over and over and over and over again.
Oh yeah,
it ain't cheating.
No, it's not.
Does it make it easier to find the fish? Absolutely, 100%. It absolutely does. Does it make it easier to catch the fish? No, it does not.
No, because unless you know what you're doing, and this isn't just forward-facing sonar. This is literally for everything. For everything. This goes beyond electronics. I could give you the latest and greatest electronics from any company, just a whole smorgasbord of technology on the greatest bass boat that has ever been built with the fastest motor and the best trolling motor. And if you haven't put in the time on the water to understand why you should be throwing one specific technique over another at that time of the year, given those particular weather conditions and that water clarity and the fish being at that depth, then you are fucked. You're hopeless.
You could watch more porn than me and still be shit in bed.
Then there's that.
Hope they didn't hear that.
I like golfing. Like, I really do. I thoroughly enjoy golfing. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible. I've never shot under 100, but I still love it and I still go out. Now, you could give me the world's greatest golf clubs. You could give me a rangefinder that could be accurate to within 1/10 of an inch. You could give me a device that would read the wind and predict what the wind is going to do when I hit my shot.
He's like,
I'm still going to put it in the woods. Still going to put it in the woods. And I've golfed probably 30 to 40 times in my life. That's not enough. That's not even remotely enough. I know enough to understand what I don't understand and how poor I am at it. But my God, I still enjoy it. But I'm not going to pretend that if you give me $1 million set of clubs and all the technology in the world that I'm going to start shooting 70. It's not how it works. That's just not how it works.
Correct. Back to fishing. If you ain't throwing the right shit, you're fucking up.
And the only way you're going to do that is with time on the water. Mm-hmm. We're parroting the same thing that every experienced angler and pro has been saying for the last 50 years. There is no replacement for time on the water. If you're not putting the time in out there to understand what it is you're looking at and why you're making these decisions, no electronics are going to help you.
You can listen to us as much as you want, but that ain't going to help you.
Ain't that the truth? Listening to us and then going and putting the time in the water, that's what makes a difference. But
or not listening to us and just put the time on the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, you're going to become a better fisherman.
But that's where it comes down to with not having electronics and when it won't hinder you. It's because you put in that time to understand what is out there. Okay, it's the fall. The only thing I know is water temp and maybe depth. And water temp you can get, you don't need electronics. Like somebody said, you can get a pool thermometer. While you're waiting for blast off, you dump it in the lake beside you. In 10 minutes or less, you'll have exactly what the water temp is.
Strict bait.
And that should be all you need, because I know in the fall with the water temp in the mid to upper 50s, in a body of water that has a lot of vegetation that fish would typically relate to in the summer, probably still going to play at that point, especially with falling water temps. Because I know in the spring, they're going to relate to that. Usually on the inside sometimes, and then as the water gets warmer, they'll go to the outside, and the water gets really warm, they go out, or they'll bury themselves in the vegetation. But then typically as you come back down in water temp, they're going to move towards that outside edge. So the fluctuating but still falling water temps, they're going to want to go out deeper. I know that because I've fished in those conditions enough times to understand that that's just what happens 9 times out of 10. Highest probability of success chasing that. I know roughly that the vegetation, because of my sunglasses I'm wearing, ends there-ish. Cast there-ish.
Ish. There's a lot of ishes in fish.
Yes, there is. Like Ish
Whoa.
Monroe.
Like fish. With an F.
Trying to look. Oh, it was Scott's comment. Next time on the boat, do a tutorial, settings, etc. Yes, I do need to do that. Very, very, very overdue for doing something like that to really break down the electronics. Is there anything we didn't really hammer home at this point of electronics versus no electronics? What didn't we talk about that you brought it up before the stream started, that no electronics?
I don't remember.
I know there's a rock there because I just drove over it. I saw my sunglasses on, but I want to fish it. But I got to back way up, but I'm not really sure where it is. I have no way of marking it.
Oh, marker buoys.
Damn right. Marker buoys are great. They're
2D
cheap.
sonar and marker buoys are your best friend.
Polarized sunglasses and marker buoys are your best friend, man. We used marker buoys for years.
That was fun. You throw that thing down, it goes flap, 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 flap for about 10 minutes. You drive away for 20 minutes, and you come back and you fish that.
Yeah. And kind of hard to miss, a big bright orange friggin' H floating in the water.
Do you have them down here?
They're in the garage.
Ah.
I keep thinking about bringing them out every once in a while, but it's like totally pointless with everything we have.
All it is, if you don't have one, you could literally make one out of a Gatorade bottle, some fishing line, and a couple big weights.
Yep.
You just take the bottle, wrap a bunch of line over it, attach a weight to the line. Next time you find a boulder or whatever spot you want to go fish with the 2D sonar, just throw it out right over it. That weight will go down and it'll stop right on top of it, and you will have a marker buoy.
Yep. Jeremy Martin, you call it a marker buoy. I call it a waypoint.
It is. It's a mobile waypoint.
It is. Mobile redeployable waypoint. Love it. Jerry, paint your marker buoys black so we will see them driving by.
Yeah, it's black. I'm blind. I'm not going to see it. And I'll freaking lose the spot, and then I'll be littering.
You're not wrong. What did Kevin say? Besides seeing fish, 3 things I learned from forward-facing sonar: seasonal fish movement and how they react to lures. And 3, you can totally suck at your home lake. Dude, yeah, that was the most eye-opening thing. Number 1, because it got so late in the year. We were out there in January. Literally on a day, we were fishing just a few hours before a big snowstorm was coming in, like the first major one of the year, middle of January. We had to go through like 300 feet of like skim ice at the ramp to get out to open water. We skunked, but we saw that tank. Not too far from here. We caught a 4 and a 5 there, like early in the season last year.
Is that where you just went?
No, we haven't been there since this spring. No, we haven't been there since January. Submerged, humpy point right next to the friggin' boat ramp. Massachusetts, over the border. You'll get there eventually. Anyway.
Oh! Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the first most eye-opening thing about it was obviously 1, being able to see the fish.
That's when
2,
I was throwing the Defiant.
Yep. And
I remember that day.
I remember seeing how fast the fish are moving around. And then like the next 2 trips we went out, we were down in Cape Cod. Water was like 38, even in those places at that time. And I'm like, dude, this water's cold. This is crazy. I'm curious to see how slow we're going to have to go. And seeing these fish freaking flying around, bombing around all day. All winter we saw that down there. And I don't know if it's just a Cape Cod thing or if all the fish in the winter are still really that active.
No, they're hauling ass, every single one of them.
It's nuts. I never, my whole life, I thought they were just kind of like,
it's like doing
down,
jumping
like,
jacks. You got to move to stay warm.
Belly, and they're like, yeah, this is great. I'm going to wait for something to pop in front of my face, whether it's a shiner or a jig. I don't care. I'm going to eat it. Nope. They're sprinting.
They still do belly down in the mud.
Yep.
For sure.
But yeah, then the other half of it was fish behavior. And we still see that all the time. And it helps. Because we literally just did it on Champlain Sunday. We're out there throwing blade baits and jigs, and we're like, this should work, because this always works. And it was, but not like crazy. And then I was like, well, let's try moving something a little bit. And then I threw that Beast Coast Slowful in the 3/8 ounce head. And saw the fish come up, and they kind of reacted to it, but like they didn't really commit to it. Like they came up, they reacted, but they were still like many feet behind it, like 10 feet, maybe 5 feet at best. It's like, okay, that's a little bit closer to what we should be doing. And I was like, well, maybe they chase the A-rig. Because, like,
of course
they're eating. But maybe, and they chase something moving. Well, I really want this to work. It's a big meal. Screw it. Literally first and second cast caught a fish. And I missed a fish on my 3rd cast. And then I caught a fish on my 4th cast. It's great. But that's the biggest benefit about forward-facing sonar. You already know what to do, and any one of 5 things could work, and kind of go through things, and okay, well, what, I can see the fish there, so I'm going to throw what I think is going to work. Well, he did not like that. How many times did we see that Sunday? Throw it down over their head, and they got within, like, either they're already on the bottom, we brought a bait to them, and like they literally were just like, nope, and they blasted off.
Well, I was using the A-rig, and my color was different, and they were friggin' right off, too.
Yes.
So, color is a thing.
Always is.
For sure. Definitely for smallmouth. Especially for smallmouth. That was a fun day.
It really was. What did Mark say? Are the lead weights at the end of those marker buoys illegal in New Hampshire too? No, because they're over an ounce. So I guess that technically makes them legal. And then Jerry and Hunter, we drop a buoy down here and people idle by, and you hear that not to be mistaken beep as they save your spot in their units. We have a guy that does it so often we named him Beep. Man, you don't even have to drop a marker buoy up here. People will still just idle by you. We had a guy do that up to us on a spot in Vermont last year. Like we literally, it's a big lake, a couple thousand acres. And we were on one end, fishing a spot outside grass line, but it was a very particularly good stretch. And this guy was like running across. He pulled up, like came off pad, went behind us, maybe 200 feet, side imaged right up to us and past us, dropped trolling motor and started fishing. I'm like, well, I'm not going to deal with that. So we left. Went to the polar opposite of the lake. 20 minutes later, the guy comes by, does the same thing.
Oh, yeah. What a dick.
Yeah, that guy.
White boat.
Yep.
I remember that guy.
That was weird. That was weird. A very strange situation.
There wasn't even many people fishing that day either. Like, leave us alone. Yes.
Oh, one of my high school buddies, Josh, just messaged me the thumbnail from the stream last week. I know that point.
Josh?
No, not Josh. Different guy. He was in my grade. Wicked good guy. Him and his dad were big, or still are big into bass fishing.
Should have let him astray. Yeah, we should.
Just go out in the middle of the lake and like 50 feet doing literally nothing. Just like sitting there doing this.
Yeah.
Drop shot rod.
Yeah, we'd probably catch fish too.
Yeah, we probably would have. I don't know. I feel like
Raid bait
questions.
in the middle of summer.
Are there any questions? More questions for us. I did see a couple, actually. I'll circle back while I wait for more to come in. And it was a really good question. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss it. Chris, I love side imaging for farm rock walls. That's how I caught that 6'11" largie earlier this year. Mm-hmm. It's great. Mark, don't sleep on paper maps. Absolutely spot on, sir. Chris.
Kyle Frank still does it all the time. He always has a map in his car.
Good for him. Mm-hmm. I use my phone. I like technology.
Same.
I should use paper maps sometimes, though. It'd be great. Dixie, I don't really use or need electronics for these shallow ponds. With these deep kettle ponds, I can definitely see the benefit. Yeah, absolutely. It was Chris Curtis. Saw something. Oh, have you been fishing the Connecticut River? Yes, we went up there recently, and it was still kind of slow. But we were there the day after a tournament, so I mean, we still had a good day. Forget how many fish we caught. A lot.
Probably like 25, 30-ish.
Yeah, but nothing like crazy big. It was a little
Average
slow.
2 to 2 1/4, I'd say.
Yeah, not as good as it normally is, but not bad by any means. And then Chris also said, because I'd love to see you next year on the Connecticut River. I'll be happy to meet you there in my fishing spot. That could be arranged. That can absolutely be arranged. Jeremy, I do a lot of map study. Helps tremendously. I'm pretty sure I did see that earlier, but yep, point absolutely taken and wholeheartedly agreed with. Ain't that for sure. Faith First Fishing, favorite Bible verse. Not really my thing. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. But
so,
Kevin,
off topic, kind of not really off topic, but I went to go help Josh move tables and everything at the parents' church. And I took a step in the front door. His mom stopped me and she's like, "Okay, you haven't burst into flames yet." Jesus, lady.
She's awesome.
I know, she is.
All right, tell you what. I have to be awake in a little less than 6 hours, and I still have 3 rods to fix. So we're going to call it there. So we all appreciate you being here, watching us, listening to us. Brian, thanks. You're always here for that. By all means, for anybody that's still watching here, if you haven't done so yet, please drop a like on the stream. It helps. We appreciate it. You guys are the best for that. Already do that. For people that have been sharing the stream also, thank you very, very much. Anybody watching this after the fact, leave a comment with any other questions that you have that we may not have covered. And I can tell you next week, we're going to have Derek, the owner of Beast Coast Fishing, on. The week after that, I forgot to text you to ask a specific individual if you wanted to do a show again. That's my bad.
I forgot to ask.
I know. Well, I knew you would. But that's why you said, send me a text to remind me. I was like, I'll do that, and I forgot.
Shit, someone else was to text me to remind me something, too. I don't remember who that was.
I do not control the remember.
My memory gland is shot.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate it. I'm definitely going to enjoy the new rig. Go out there and see if we can't slime it up a little bit more tomorrow. Other than that, again, thank you all very much. We will let Andrew do his thing.
We will see you guys next week. Like every week, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. at youtube.com/ReelNorthernBass. We love you. We love every single one of you.
Adios, muchachos.
Adios, muchachos.